The Flash 9/11 aired tonight, titled New World Part 2, subtitled The Blues. It was an episode without Barry for like 90% of it. It was a good episode though, which was surprising. Because I said on my promo breakdown, I don't think this episode would be good at all. Because Barry was only in one scene. Or at least a new scene. But this episode took place during 9/10. While Barry was in the past dealing with, everything that was going on 9/10, this is what Team Flash was doing during that time. I really hope that this is the only time we're doing that. Because Barry teleported away at the end of this episode. And I don't know about you guys, but I don't want the series finale to be focused on Team Flash and what the hell they're doing in like 3 scenes with Barry. I would much rather it go back and forth in 9/12 and 9/13's all about Barry. But what do I know? I would hope that's the case here instead of another whole dumb situation like 906 or whatever. But I do think it's important to point out that, again, this episode was good. Mark came back. He was corrected by negative Speed Force. Everyone had good arcs besides, Cecile. She was kind of annoying. And Iris, I didn't really care about. Which is nothing new. Allegra, I've always been interested in her character, so it wasn't really anything new for me there. But what she did was really good. Also, the actress who plays Allegra directed the episode. She did an amazing job. As I said, Mark came back, and John Cord, the actor of Mark, did an amazing job. Really going back and forth between the original Mark and then Mark being corrected by the negative Speed Force, but also coming off as emotionally heavy in scenes and. So bringing that aspect of negative Speed Force to life, it takes a lot of good acting to do that. Just, Martin did it last week, and he did an amazing job. The main point in this episode for me was Eddie, or he's Eddie now. He believed to his Malcolm Gilmore. He's actually Eddie Thawne, the one that died in season 1. And, he's trying to find Iris. Now, there's confusion here. And I get it. But this is in 2049. This is on our Earth. The stuff we've seen with Malcolm in 9/10 and this episode are in 2049. Maybe not the stuff in CC Media. That might be in present day, which is kind of threatening. But the whole grave stuff, that is 100% the future. So it's yeah. Which the great stuff was at the end, right? So I guess that CCC Media stuff was in the future. Yeah, because that girl was green, thanks to Keone. Yeah, whatever. The point is, anything relating to Malcolm or Eddie, sorry right now. I'm going to keep saying Malcolm because I got how bad his name was Malcolm. Eddie lost his memories. That's why, he believed it was Malcolm Gilmore. We don't entirely know the exact reason why this is all unfolding the way it was. If they explain that in 9/12 or 9/13 would be nice. Or especially, 9/12 would be something. But for, Eddie, the negative Speed Force, I believe the negative Speed Force was telling Eddie to go find Iris. He's trying to get everything that Eddie could have had if he didn't sacrifice himself for Barry. And 9/12 is definitely going to pick that up. And at the end of 9/12, we should definitely know what's going to be going on with these characters. With Barry, Eddie, will Eddie find Iris, and will they end up becoming a full-on, will stuff change between the two? What will change there? What's going to happen? It is genuinely interesting. We know that Nora XS is in this episode. What she's going to be doing is, beyond me. But we do see, and I'll discuss it more in a promo breakdown, that Barry, is in the future with XS, or XS is there with Barry. Either or, they're definitely, doing something there with Cobalt Blue, Barry, and XS. And also Iris. But I'm genuinely excited for 9/12. I think it won't top 909 or 910. I don't care what anyone says. 9/11, 9/12, and 9/13. 9/11 and 9/12 will not top 909 and 910. 9/13 might, depending on what they do. We know that Tom Thawne, which I'm personally excited for because I love Tom Thawne, Zoom, Savitar, Godspeed, and Cobalt Blue suited up are all in the episode alongside Barry, who will be CGI'd in because Grant got COVID, so, But it's going to be an interesting episode. And, whether or not top 910 and 911, 909 and 910 is beyond me. Again, I think what they did for 9/11 worked only because it was filling in what Team Flash was doing during 9/10. And it was at that point in 9/10 where Bear was fighting Joe. That's where the episode kind of took place. Because Iris said he's been gone for 6 hours, which does track with 9/10. Because you remember in 9/10, it was like the afternoon hours. And then towards the episode, it was night. So you could say it took place over the course of 6 to 7 hours, that whole episode. Which, good writing on them. They did a good job on that. If that had not been the case, I would be discussing I would be doing an entirely different video right now. It would be a rant, would be what it would be. But the episode ended with Barry coming back, which is where he left at the end of 9/10, which is a cool thing they did. And, Iris is in labor, she's giving birth, and then Barry gets sucked away again. And it goes to Eddie digging up his own grave, and, he learns that he's Eddie. We see season 1 flashbacks, season 1 finale flashbacks, which I kind of figured would be happening because they showed that in the promo. Again, I'm very, very interested with all this. And seeing CCPD in the future with, at the time, we believe it was Malcom, and trying to figure out who the hell Eddie is, right? And Korber being the captain, who I think she deserves it more than anyone else besides Joe, but Joe's retired, obviously, but, the next person in rank to be captain, I would assume would have been Korber, so to see her being captain, it was kind of a full circle moment for me seeing that, because again, this is in 2049, I think in 9/12, they're going to confirm that it is, this whole thing takes place in 2049. I am curious, though, in 9/12, is Eddie in present day and sucks Barry into the future so he can possibly get the Iris? Is that what they're doing? But the other thing that kind of makes me question is, in 9/11, this episode, when the Negative P-Force took over Mark, they tried to kill Iris. And they were threatening her and her entire family. So I wonder if what's going to happen here is that Cobalt Blue, or were they threatening Iris? Or they were threatening the Allen family. Were they threatening Iris? I don't remember. I have to rewatch it. But if they were just threatening, Iris' family, then I think the arc will be that Eddie sucks Barry into the future so he can try to get the Iris, and change stuff. Get the life that he, quote unquote, deserves, is what he said, not me. And then, we deal with it. I don't know. But if it was like they're threatening Iris and Iris' family, I mean, for Eddie, you think that'd be a little weird because he's a new Negative C-Force avatar. I don't know. It's going to be all over the place. I guarantee it'll be all over the place in 9/12. Especially if they're trying to rush it, which I think they're going to. 9/11, while it was a good episode, it wasn't the best. It wasn't even great, in my opinion. I mean, it was focused on Team Flash. Granted, they were the best they've been since season 8, and even prior to that, I think. But, they could have done so much more and didn't. And they could have done more with Barry. They could have done more with Eddie. You know, we could have learned that he was Eddie, like, in the middle of the episode, and him working his way through the timeline to present day. They could have done that instead of, you know, instead of 9/12 being about Eddie in present day, finding Barry, and all of that. That's easily what could have happened there, instead of them, you know, dragging all this out and it not really working in anyone's major favor. That being said, I do think what they were working with was okay, but again, it could have been a hell of a lot better than what we got. So it's really depends how you look at it. I thought it was easily like a 7.6 out of 10. I think 7's being generous, only because of Eddie. And the Barry scene at the end where he teleported away again. I think that was really the only case where that even actually worked, to be honest with you. So I'm not really that surprised that all this played out the way it did. But again, Kayla Compton, who plays Allegra, did an amazing job directing. You know, there were some scenes with Iris, particularly, where I was like, okay, do we really need this? There were some scenes with Cecile where I was like, do we really need this? I really loved Mark. I said earlier, John Cord did an amazing job. The next was Avatar, you know, or not Avatar, but next Speed Force taking over Team Flash. It's a cool concept, and Mark, you know, is no longer being controlled by that, by Keone, who's a goddess, apparently. And the Speed Force, the actual Speed Force, showing up, and it was nice to see her again. But she's battling negative forces on a cellular level, on a, you know, a god level. So at least they explained that, why this person's showing up, and they couldn't find Barry. It was a good episode. It wasn't great, but it was good. And I think, you know, for a final arc, we kind of need an episode like this to fill in what Team Flash is doing. Yes, it's called The Flash, but this, over the last, like, 8 years, 9 years, they set up that Barry is more than just The Flash. It's also Team Flash. So, that's what it really does come down to. And at the end of the day, I'm glad we got this episode and not another Cecile-centric episode in the middle of the final arc. So, you know, we gotta look at the big picture, and I think it is worth it with what we got. So, yeah. Thanks for this video. Have a good day. Have a good night. Stay safe. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye, guys.